and introduce a two-slab structure with 5% and 18% as the tax rates. During his address on Independence Day, Prime Minister made these proposals and urged the state governments to cooperate and ensure that reforms are undertaken ahead of Diwali. The group of ministers on GST rate rationalization are scheduled to meet on the 21st of August. One of the sectors that will benefit from this move is the auto industry. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that there is a proposal to lower the GST rate on two-wheelers less than 350cc and small cars to 18% from 28% earlier. Currently, vehicles are taxed under multiple slabs, combining GST and cess, depending on engine size, length and ground clearance. The new proposal will aim to bring parity and reduce rates. Automobile makers have welcomed the Prime Minister's announcement. Maruti Suzuki Chairman R.C. Bhargav told CNBC-TV18 that people have wanted a rationalization of rates for a long time. He added that the auto sector is now awaiting the GST Council's decisions. Mahindra & Mahindra's Rajesh Jajurikar also said that this creates a great opportunity to make in India. To take this discussion forward, I'm now joined by CS Vigneshwar, President at the Federation of Indian Automobile Dealers, Vinny Mehta, Director General at the Automotive Component Manufacturers Association, and also on the program with us is Jitin Makkar, Senior Vice President and Group Head, Corporate Ratings at ICRA. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. CS Vigneshwar, if I can begin with you, do you see this with a sense of optimism, something that will really augur well for almost 51% of the car industry? And I'm saying this because almost 50 to 55% of sales still come for cars under 1200cc and less than 4 meters.
Parikshit, thanks for having us here. First of all, this is great news. It's fantastic in the medium and long term. We've been asking for the rationalization of the taxes, the GST, for quite some time. And this is really going to help in terms of reducing the expenditure which a customer has to go through for the ownership of a car. And it's going to be fantastic for a car ownership or a two-wheeler ownership. We are looking forward for this and how it's really going to help us produce more cars in India. It's going to help the component manufacturers, the OEMs, and of course us, the dealers, by making sure that the customer is serviced at much lower rates than what it is right now.
Right. Vinny Mehta, how does this help the component ecosystem in India to become more competitive?
Parikshit, first of all, this is indeed a very, very welcome step and a long-awaited step. And the component demand, as you know, is a derived demand of the vehicle consumption in the country. So if the vehicle consumption is going to go up, and if, this benign measure is going to give a boost to Make in India, we benefit tremendously out of it. And secondly, the auto component industry has two businesses. One, we supply to the OEMs, and secondly, there is the aftermarket that we service. And, the aftermarket is plagued with a lot of spurious and a lot of gray operations because, the auto components that are at 28% rate is an issue where there is a lot of gray activity that happens. So if the rates are going to come down, this is really good news. We are going to make more in India now.
Right. And Vinny Mehta, if I were to try and understand from you, how much of the component industry today is in the 18% bracket? How much of it is in the 28% GST bracket? So, and if you can explain us in value terms as well.
Well, when the GST came in the year 2017, almost, I would say, 40% of the auto components were in the 18% bracket, and the rest 60% were in the 28% bracket. And we being pleading the government that we are an intermediary industry. So, a higher rate is not to our advantage. I mentioned to you about the challenges in the gray market. And the government has been kind enough to listen to us. So today, almost 60% of the auto components are at 18%. but also a significant portion, which is the 40% remains at 28%. So 40% of the auto component tariffs are today at 28%, which is a higher tax slab. And if the tax slabs goes down to 18% for the auto component industry, it will be really helpful.
Of course. Let me go back to CS Vigneshwar at this point. Mr. Vigneshwar, we're also entering a festive season right now. You've got Onam coming up, you've got Ganesh Chaturthi, you've got Dussehra, Dhanteras, lots of festivals over the next 2 months. Would you hope that there is at least some sort of clarity on the way forward soon? Do you expect customers to say, hey, I'm going to hold back my purchase till Diwali now?
We are looking at some clarity, and so are our customers. So we've been liaising with our OEMs, and we've been also trying to talk to the government sources. We are also meeting a few central ministers in the next couple of days. So perhaps we probably need to wait for a couple of days for us to understand what's the implications and how this is going to be implemented. We understand that the Council of GST Ministers will be meeting only next month. However, we'll be requiring clarity much before that, so that we can take advantage, and also the customers can take advantage of buying vehicles during the festive season.
All right. So let me now go across to Jitin Makkar from ICRA, who's joining us. Jitin, how do you think this is going to help the automobile industry? For a while now, for the last few years, the entry-level scooter, motorcycle sales, entry-level car sales, they have been under stress. Will this reduction in GST, especially for motorcycles under 350cc, cars under 1200cc, sub 4 meters, will this improve the sentiment at the entry point of the automobile industry?
Yeah, you're right that the entry segment of both two-wheelers as well as passenger vehicles have been segments which have been bearing the brunt of slowdown in the consumer demand. But I think when a rate cut like this happens, the simple answer, this simplified answer would be that economics 101 would suggest that prices will come down and therefore volumes will go up. But I think this also needs to be looked in the context that the overall construct, the proportion of cars that are currently dotting the passenger vehicle landscape, they have increasingly and significantly shifted towards higher capacity vehicles, larger sized vehicles. So because of this, I think the consumer demand itself has been moving up the value chain, and the premiumization of the passenger vehicle industry has been happening, notwithstanding the fact that they come with higher ticket sizes, and also notwithstanding the fact that the changes in regulations and inflation have pushed up prices of automobiles. But yes, once a rate cut gets announced and gets implemented rather, then certainly the consumers at the margin who were earlier not able to take that buying decision for an entry-level car or a bike, they are expected to come back to the market, and therefore it should be a positive for the entry-level bikes and the car segments.
Right. And Jitin, if I were to ask you, what will be the cost differential, say, between an entry-level SUV, which is above 1200cc or 1500cc, and a small car? Because nowadays, with all the regulatory costs, even small cars end up costing around 7 to 8 lakh rupees. So what will be the cost differential between entry-level models of big SUVs and top models of your entry-level small cars? How much of a difference will it make?
I think the delta is quite substantial. It could be as high as 2x. So an entry-level car could be in the region of, say, 5 lakh rupees, and an entry-level SUV, a really entry-level SUV, could be in the region of 11 lakh rupees. And therefore, that differential is substantial. But I think the customer segment which goes for entry-level cars or bikes is very different from the customer who's going for higher capacity or specification vehicles.
Right. Let me go back to CS Vigneshwar at this point. Mr. Vigneshwar, how do you see the industry benefiting from this reduction in rate, considering that, you've got raw material costs going up, regulatory costs going up. So overall, the vehicle prices, they will continue to see an uptick. How do you see this impacting demand over the next 4 to 5 months, in case this becomes a reality come Diwali?
If this becomes a reality, it's going to be a bumper Diwali, of course. There are more people who will be wanting to get into a car or purchase a bike. We need to also understand that, as you rightly mentioned, that the pricing of a car would include its raw materials, would include the discounts being offered, would include the taxes on it. So perhaps, because right now we've been having great discounts going on, great offers going on, perhaps this is going to go away. We don't know. So at the end of the day, we probably need to look into what's being the current situation. The current situation is that the taxes are quite high, and a reduction in taxes would be welcomed by all of us, because it really helps us sell these vehicles at more affordable costs and affordable schemes to customers. And that's the most important thing. So we had also represented some time ago regarding bringing down GST, and we really thank the government for doing it. And this is really going to help customers and businesses in the long term.
Right. Vinny Mehta, my final question to you. As the Prime Minister has now promised that big GST Diwali gift, would there be any other measures that you would recommend to the government in terms of GST simplification, ease of taxation in the country, ease of business?
I think the government is pretty much focused on all this. There's an overarching theme, which is of ease of doing business, and therefore resolving challenges in GST is also a part of it. And the only thing I would like to request to the government is that do please ensure that there are no inverted tariff structures, because, even now you will have the electric vehicles at 5% and the components for the electric vehicles at 18%. Although there's a mechanism to offset that, but it's a little bit cumbersome. So we really need a more simpler process to address challenges on the front of inverted tariff structures. Otherwise, we are really very thankful to the government. And as you said, and as the Prime Minister said, we're looking forward to a bumper Diwali.
Right. So that's an important point. Address the issue of inverted duty structures that makes manufacturing, that makes the cost process more cumbersome, make that simpler, address that, upfront. Thank you very much, Vinny Mehta, Jitin Makkar, CS Vigneshwar, for joining us. We're taking a short break on the program, but coming up on the other side, the Indian government braces for 50% US tariffs starting the 27th of August. Sources say trade talks with the US scheduled for the 25th of August have been postponed. A special discussion when we return.